when you look at this kit, I want you to bear in mind that I'm going from pond to pond, trying to make distance. I'm trying to keep my load as light as possible. I want to talk about the canoe that I'm using. I want to talk about the gear that I carry in the canoe, personal gear that I carry, and then the necessities of what I carry in the dry bag in case I have to spend the night out because of weather or lots of wind. I'm in a very small canoe. It doesn't take kindly to big headwinds. We had some rollers yesterday that were a little bit hairy. We made it out obviously okay, but I want to go through that, and we're going to take it piece by piece. We'll break it down, and then later on we'll get into the particulars on different aspects of the gear that I'm carrying. So don't go away. Okay, so the canoe that I've been using for the last 3 days is my Old Town pack. It is 12 feet long, it is 36 pounds, and between the gunnels at its widest point, it's 31 inches. The gear that I carry in that while doing pond hopping. First of all, in the pack itself, it doesn't come with a carrying yoke. So what I've done, and you saw on the one video where I made the quick carry yoke using bungee cords, and a pool noodle and a hockey stick. It was good for a while. Over the course of time, it was no bueno. So I actually fashioned a better removable yoke. There will be a video on how to make this. So make sure you check in on that video as well. But that's the first piece, is I carry this with me. So when I do my portages, I have a carry yoke. We need to paddle. We need to propel our craft in the water. So this is a kayak paddle, or basically just a double blade. This one's made out of carbon fiber. I used it while I was kayaking, but this is my primary mode of transportation, propulsion. So it is two-piece. It'll go together, it locks in place, and I'm ready to go. With that, bear in mind that if something happens to that paddle, if it breaks, if the shaft breaks, if a blade breaks, most people will carry a second paddle. If you don't carry a second paddle to get you place to place, then you're kind of silly, and you're going to have to fashion something, or you're going to have to rely on somebody to help tow you in or give you a paddle to get back to where you are. And that's just no bueno. I'm here at Jones Pond right now. There is not a soul out here. So again, you have to rely on yourself, because you never know if there's going to be somebody around to help you. So second paddle, I bought the new Otter Tail. Here's a little comfort item that also helps you out in the long run. So this is a Crazy Creek chair. I've been using these things for years. This is probably like the third one that I've had. They do get worn out after a while, but they made them better, and this one's probably about 3 years old right now. So Crazy Creek chair, it's nice. You can sit on it this way, it's padded. You can fold it up for your back and give yourself some back support. If you've been in a canoe for any amount of time, sometimes it's nice to just lean back and give your back a break. So we have the canoe chair. To go along with that, I fashioned myself a nice canoe pad. On one side it's oilcloth, on the other side it's high visibility Cordura. It's also lined with Reflectix to keep my butt warm in colder climes. And the reason that I made this with fluorescent orange is because if I need to get somebody's attention, if I'm like, hey, I need kind of like help, and they can't see the paddle that's going back and forth, they'll probably see this with a whistle blast. Also, that if I'm going out and I'm meeting somebody at a campsite, if I get to that campsite before they do, I can actually hang this up and then let them know this is going to be hanging, and that's where the campsite is. So comfort and functionality. Talk about a couple of little incidental items that are going to be at my hand's breadth away in case I need them. First is I carry a throw rope. Okay, it's 50 feet of floating cord in case I need to send this off to an individual that has either capsized or is in the water and needs help. I can use this. I can also use this to help tow another canoe or a kayak if they have any problems. I have long painters on the canoe itself, and we'll talk about painters in a later video, but this is attached by my seat and it's ready to go in case I need to use this. You always want to have a bailing sponge or some type of way to bail your canoe. Sometimes in the wind you may get a lot of splashing up into your canoe. You want to displace that water, you want to get it out of there as soon as possible, so we get a bailing sponge. We always have that readily available. I have a water bottle. You always got to drink, you always got to stay hydrated. No different than hiking or any other activity that you're going to be doing. Have your water bottle, keep it ready. Last but not least is a map case and map. This is right down at the bottom by my feet, so I can always reference my map, where I'm going, where I am. I check it with the GPS on my phone, and they work hand in hand, and I'll show you a couple of different apps later on. So your map case is there too. Lastly, things that I have pretty much close by at hand. I do a lot of filming on my phone. I don't necessarily use a lot of cameras anymore. It's easier for me to work my phone. So this is a dry box. I put my phone in this. This floats, so I don't lose my phone. My phone's going to be important if I have to make any type of communications whatsoever, as long as we have service. So that's for another conversation as far as the Garmin InReach or Spot, which are basically personal locator beacons, which I have not invested in yet, but is fastly approaching that I'm going to be getting that. So anyway, dry box for your phone, for your electronics. I like these better than dry bags. They're tough, they float. I've had good luck with these. This is a Pelican 1060, as a matter of fact. Sunglasses. Always have a good pair of sunglasses. Just like in snow, you can get snow blindness. The water does the same thing. The water reflects the sun, it comes back in, comes underneath. Get a good pair of sunglasses. Don't get the cheapies that you get at Walmart or your Sunoco station. Okay, get a good pair of sunglasses. Always have them. Okay, I'm not going to get too preachy about this. It's up to the personal individual on what you want to do. PFD. I wear mine all the time, regardless of the situation. Full coverage for your feet. I like the LL Bean hunting shoe. Listen, there's a lot of shoes out there that can be waterproof. These are one of them. They do leak after a while. It's not a big deal. We're canoeing. Your feet are going to get wet. Move past it and just make sure that you have full coverage on your feet. No sandals. You don't want to lose any toes, that nature. Just remember, these are heavy. And everything that you wear, the heavier that you make yourself, the less buoyant your PFD is going to be as well. Really, really hot days, I will wear a pair of Ultimas. These are their water shoes. They have drain holes to let the water out, and you're good to go. And still, your feet are covered completely. That's the way I like to go. One big dry bag. This is a 55-liter dry bag. It's a backpack as well to help me when I'm doing my portages. I know you've seen a lot of times where I've been strictly traditional. You know, I have my canoe packs by Frost River, and that's all fine and well. I just eliminated that, and I use a dry bag. Now, everything is organized in here. We're going to pull it out, and we're going to go by each bag individually. 5 other bags, and everything is divided and everything is put in its own place in its own separate dry bag. The reason for this is, and I know you're going to say that it's redundant, and you're right, it is. It is redundant, except if something happens to the big pack and it starts to leak, I still want to maintain waterproofness of my gear, especially for my sleep system and my tools. So each one is color coded. If I'm with somebody and I ask them to go get something, I can tell them exactly what bag it's in. They go get it and they can bring it back to me, and I don't have to rummage through. The days of throwing everything in one big bucket pack, like some people will tell you to do, are over. It's silly. You should be organized and you should know where things are. And that's just the way that we're going to go. So let's break everything down. We'll start from our left to our right, and then we'll finish up. In the teal dry bag, we have our sleep system and our shelter system. There is a poly tarp. There is a dedicated ridgeline. And there is in the compression sack a Mountain Serape by Hill People. In the green sack, I have a 3-fuel stove. It's probably the best stove that I've ever bought. I'll do a review on that. I paid like $25 for it. So it'll run on isobutane, it'll run on butane, it'll also run on 1-pound canisters of propane. I also have a Grail system. I like the Grail system specifically for this because I don't have to worry about setting up a gravity feed with a Sawyer or anything else. And listen, to each their own. I'm not carrying that thing when I'm hiking. That thing's way too heavy for that crap. In a canoe, I don't really care. So that's why I like it for that purpose. Does it work? Yeah, it works. It's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's a water filter, and it works. Okay, so in the orange dry bag, this winds up being my toolbox. These are all the tools that I would need to, complete the unexpected night out and make myself a little bit more comfortable. So going right back through it from left to right, obviously here's my fire starting gear, ferrocerium rod, some tinder that I make. I don't buy that stuff anymore. A Bic lighter, Yuko candles. Up at the top for repairs, there's duct tape. There is a long-handled titanium spoon. We have a complement of 3 different cordages. There's jute twine, there is paracord, and there is bank line, followed by a Baco Laplander saw. And my interpretation of Nessmuck's knife, it was designed by me, and it was brought to life by David Gray of Adirondack Knife Works. We've already talked about the Nalgene bottle, but in the small plastic container in front of it, there are cloths to make filters. There is water purification tablets. There's some Band-Aids. And there's some ammonium in case of any intestinal problems that I may have. There is a cotton bandana. There is the lid to the cup that goes with the Grail system. There's a headlamp. And then finally, there is a Morris Kohansky survival scarf that happens to be my version of it that I produce. In the yellow bag, this is simply nothing more than my food bag. Again, we're talking about pond hopping. We're not talking about packing for an expedition. We're not talking about going camping for several days. I'm not carrying a Wanigan. I'm just grabbing something that's going to make things quick and easy. I do like the Peak refuel meals if I'm going to buy those and use those. But most of the time I'm usually doing my own dehydrated meals, or what I'm actually doing is cheese, a hunk of salami, maybe summer sausage, nuts, trail mix, fruit that I know is going to last. In the other Ziploc bag, there's some oatmeal, there's tea, there's coffee, another thing of trail mix. There'll be sugar, cream substitute. These are all just little things that I can use along the way. I stop, have a little nosh, and just continue on. And I'll have something if I got to stay overnight. So strictly a food bag, and you know, you got to keep yourself clean. So we got the dude wipes to go along with that. Last but not least, that small blue dry bag is a dedicated dry bag for my wallet and my keys. And that's it. That's all it's used for. Maybe some small incidental items, things that I don't carry necessarily, but that's where they go. So how come you don't have a compass? I do have a compass. The compass is inside the PFD. Again, like I said, I'll break down certain things in other videos. I just didn't want this one to be as long as it was to begin with anyway. So yes, I have a compass. As far as room in that bag, I still have enough room where I can put another insulated layer, and I can put my rain jacket in there as well. So just remember, these bags do come in different sizes. It all depends on what you want to carry, and you have to figure out your system for yourself. This is what works for me. I know what I'm doing. I'm going from pond to pond to pond, or small lake to a pond, things of that nature. Maps are a big thing. You always got to have a map, and once you have a map and you know where you are, I mean, it's pretty hard to get lost. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, if your lake is round and you're here and you go to there, it's a pretty safe bet that I can either go around this way to where I put in, or if I go around this way, I could get to where I get put in. So these are some of the things that you want to keep in the back of your head as well. It's not an expedition pack. You've seen the videos where I've gone out and I've been out with Chris Wick or Jimmy Kane or any of those guys that I used to work with. It's not that. I'm pond hopping. That's the pond hopping kit. Hope you like it. Thanks for your views, your comments, and reach out, whatever. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. Wear your PFD. Keep on paddling.